October weather. It's approaching 90 degrees in Columbia, South Carolina, as the team from Columbia, Missouri is here. It's the Gamecocks and the Tigers. It's SEC football, presented by Allstate. With Matt Stinchcomb and Chris Budden, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Welcome to Williams-Brice. Last week, Stinch, Jake Bentley, the quarterback who started the last 24 games for the Gamecocks, was banged up in the loss to Kentucky, and he's not out there now.
It's a sizable void for South Carolina offensively. And this is a unit that was transitioning throughout the offseason and has had difficulty establishing long stretches of consistency. We've seen moments where the offense has worked well. We haven't seen that level of consistency that they've been seeking. Now you take out that key component, your veteran signal caller in Jake Bentley, and you insert a very inexperienced quarterback in Michael Scarnecchia.
We'll see Scarnecchia today, who had one career pass attempt against LSU 3 years ago when Steve Spurrier was still coaching the team. Before this season, he did come into the game on the last possession last week in the loss to Kentucky. Tucker McCann will kick it, and he does kick it over Debo's head. Barry Odom said, please do not kick it to number one today. Debo is fully healthy after that injury last season, but some of his teammates are not. Bentley is a backup today to Scarnecchia. Edwards is nursing an ankle injury but will play. You see Jam Williams on defense. Tyson Williams didn't play last week. JT eBay in the backfield of the secondary, and Eldridge Thompson, the linebacker, are not dressed for this one. So Michael Scarnecchia, the redshirt senior from Fleming Island, Florida, making his first career start. And pistol set with Rico Dowdle getting the handoff. And he's ahead for a couple of yards. Scarnecchia threw his only career touchdown pass in the first game of the season against Coastal Carolina. There you see his numbers, Stinch, most of which came last week in Lexington.
Yeah, you're looking at a quarterback who has not seen any significant time over the course of his career. A daunting task facing a very, very explosive offense on the other side.
On the reverse, it's Debo Samuel, and he is caught up in the backfield as Terry Beckner and others were there. You see Therese Hall as well. Chris Budden, what'd you see from Scarnecchia warming up?
Well, he looked good, but I think the other interesting information is that Jake Bentley is cleared to play, and Will Muschamp told me he would be available. He went through full warm-ups. He is wearing a large brace on the left knee.
And that was the thing, Stinch, coming into this game. Could he protect himself? Clearly could not plant off of that left leg last week at the end of the game in Lexington. Gamecocks 3rd and 14, and underneath throw is completed to Keel Pollard, but that is well short of the first down. It's a quick 3 and out.
And the challenge, obviously, for South Carolina is their best players are going to have to elevate their game all the more around their quarterback today. You know that they're not going to ask too much of number 12 early on in this ballgame. You want to get your ground game established. You tried to get a touch to Debo Samuel. Great job by the Missouri defense getting that negative yardage play, something that unit has not done a very good job of all season, to get South Carolina behind the down and distance and force the punt.
Joseph Charlton, excellent punter. Junior from here in Columbia. Fair catch made by Jonathan Johnson as he makes that catch at the 33-yard line. Let's get some more on the field from Chris Budden.
Taylor, this is a place that Drew Lock loves to play. He called it one of the top 2 atmospheres in the country. And that's despite having a water bottle thrown here at 2016. When the bottle was thrown at him, he picked it up, took a sip. Maybe not the best idea. So he decided this time, hey, he'd welcome some water bottles thrown his way, but he won't drink out of them. Instead, he'll just make a collection on the bench. Probably a good idea.
Well said. Drew Lock, the senior from Lee's Summit, Missouri, is one of the best passers in SEC history. As Larry Roundtree in the backfield, and Larry gets it, and he's past the 40-yard line near the 44. TJ Brunson on the tackle after 6 yards. Lock is 6th in SEC history with 82 touchdown passes. Could pass Tim Tebow, Chris Leak, and Peyton Manning in the next few weeks and end his career 3rd all time. big-time numbers as he fakes out of the backfield and throws incomplete to Jonathan Johnson. Good job stepping in front of it. It's the freshman J.C. Horn.
And Missouri's going to be shorthanded today. We talk about the mass unit for South Carolina as Locke tries to jam one in there to Jonathan Johnson. He is the slot threat and will have to emerge in this game along with Albert Okuwebanam and Kendall Blanton, because no Emmanuel Hall, the SEC's leading receiver, available today for the Missouri offense.
Injuries all over the field for both of these teams. That's a big one with Hall out. Here's the pitch to Roundtree, and he's got the edge and a first down.
This is the element of Missouri's offense this season that's different from a year ago. So you're looking at 3rd and 3 plus 3rd and 4. Last year, you're running the football. Maybe you try to slip a draw, or you're passing the football and slip a draw. Instead, you did a toss and get big Paul Adams out in front for the conversion.
1st and 10 in Gamecocks territory. And a fake. Lockwood all day, loads up and wide open. Near the end zone is Jalen Knox. There's a flag that comes in as well. And it is initially ruled a 45-yard touchdown.
Keyshawn Nixon was in coverage, and it was a double move.
On the defense, number 9, penalties declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Off the heavy play action, you take a shot up top after a run conversion on 3rd down, a double move outside in man coverage, and Jalen Knox, the true freshman, able to get underneath Keyshawn Nixon. Nixon with the hold, but it was basically when the receiver.
After further review, the receiver was down at the 1-yard line. It will be 1st and goal at the 1, Missouri.
And with that completion, Drew Lock goes over 10,000 yards in his career.
And as you may have mentioned earlier, you're talking about some pretty heady company. Last time he had a 10,000-yard passer was Aaron Murray, holds a couple SEC passing records, and Drew Lock has been able to assemble quite the career at Missouri, amassing these types of yards, and he's only going to add to it through the balance of this season. This offense is just as explosive, piling up the yards and the points as they did a year ago.
Can Mizzou run the football? That's Derek Dooley, the offensive coordinator's charge as he came in this season. And here's Larry Roundtree. The answer is yes. Touchdown, Mizzou.
Quite the establishing drive. You come out, you get a conversion on the ground on 3rd down, and then you walk into the end zone. TJ Brunson scraping over the top, doesn't get there in time, and nice block at the point of attack by Daniel Parker to get Larry Roundtree into the end zone.
Sophomore from Raleigh, Larry Roundtree with the touchdown. And Tucker McCann's extra point is good.
Running into the kicker, number 9 on the defense. Penalties declined. Result of the play, the try is good.
Well, the Gamecocks go 3 and out, and then Mizzou marches right down the field very quickly with the deep ball to Jalen Knox that sets up Larry Roundtree. Missouri Tigers ahead in the Columbia Bowl. And how about this? An onside kick, but that's not going to go far enough, and a penalty against Mizzou.
Wow, trying to steal a possession early in this game and not very well executed. And you're just trying to kick a dribbler. You want to catch that return team, that front line dropping. They don't watch the ball sometimes, and you want it to eke just over 10 yards downfield. This time, runs out of gas, never makes the 10 yards, hits the flag, and now phenomenal starting field position for South Carolina.
Scarnecchia, middle of the field is open, and there's Debo, and he's tackled inside the 5. 32 yards for the speedster from Inman, South Carolina.
Well, there's no better way to try to make your opponent pay by a mistake in special teams and get the ball to number 1.
Very quickly, Scarnecchia hands it to Dowdle, who is tackled at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and goal.
And Dowdle's a guy that has to step up as well. So Deebo Samuel gets the one slant, gets almost in the end zone. You're knocking on the door. Rico Dowdle, he is the most productive offensive player for South Carolina right now. 96 all-purpose yards, an excellent receiver out of the backfield. But he's been relatively inconsistent. Need to get his touches. He needs to get established, especially down here in the low red zone.
See two tight ends at the bottom of your screen. And Scarnecchia will throw the fade, and it is caught. Brian Edwards, touchdown Gamecocks.
Missouri sold out against the run. Brian Edwards finding the corner of the end zone. You see coverage falls down to Cam Hilton, number 89. So we've seen Deebo step up. Rico Dowdle's got to get going. Brian Edwards is the third. He is one of the stars on offense that is going to have to step up big in Jake Bentley's absence. Scarnecchia, you see the foot down. Ball in hand, completes this pass. What an answer and way to capitalize on a huge opportunity, a gift on a poorly executed onside kick early in this game.
Edwards with a catch in his 30th straight game. Parker White's extra point is good. Missouri rolls the dice, attempting an onside kick, and the Gamecocks make them pay. Michael Scarnecchia with his second career touchdown pass to Brian Edwards, tie game.
The average starting field position for the Gamecocks on offense was their own 19-yard line.
Alex Wozniak kicking off, and Mizzou will start at the 25. Great to have Darian all day today as Drew Lock fakes the handoff and rifles one to Albert O for a first down catch. Boy, has he come on strong. Okue Bunam had 9 catches against Georgia, and he might be their top target today.
He's a guy that's going to step up big, and we're going to have to keep an eye on who has him in coverage, because not only can he run, but it's his size that allows him to be open even when coverage is draped on.
Larry Roundtree breaks a few tackles past the 45-yard line.
Well, there was expectations. You know, he built those a season ago, fueled largely by a turnover margin that was vastly in South Carolina's favor. Regardless, coming into the season, thought to be a contending team in the SEC East. Ran into one of the best teams in the country in week 2 versus Georgia. Missed out on coming back from that game because their Marshall game was canceled, and have been trying to climb back into a consistent level of performance ever since.
This is the big tight end, Kendall Blanton. Missouri has 2 guys that look like they should play at the next level. First down, Mizzou in Gamecocks territory, 18 yards.
We talked about Albert Okuebanam earlier, and Kendall Blanton looks even prettier on the hoof. If you could build a tight end, it looks like number 11. Physical finish to that catch.
Roundtree shuffles his feet and is inside the 35. When we were on the field before the game stance, you said, Taylor, turn around. Just take a look at Kendall Blanton. 6'6", 265 pounds. Runs like a deer.
Probably. And hits like a truck, and probably catches like Larry Fitzgerald. What other analogies we could throw at him? That's a big physical presence. They spend a lot of time with 2 tight ends in their personnel groups.
Howard Beatty has a hole inside the 30 and is tackled inside the 10-yard line as Steven Montag prevented the touchdown. The freshman goes for 25 yards.
They had a corner shoot from the boundary, so they're coming from that. Edges there, and you got pulling linemen out in front of Beatty, a true freshman who has really asserted himself in the Missouri's ground game, an upsurgent one at that.
Roundtree gets the toss, and he eludes the first tackle and finds his way in. Keir Thomas had him in the backfield.
See there, Keir Thomas, as you pointed out, great penetration right at the point, makes Roundtree cut back. But you see South Carolina had over pursuit that can happen where there's cutback lanes created. See Jermias Williams all the way over the top. Roundtree showing some pretty good vision.
After further review, the runner was down at the half-yard line. It will be 2nd and goal at the half-yard line.
Say there's the ball. I'm going to say that ball had not crossed the front edge of the planes. You see the ball right there before Roundtree kind of rolled over on his backside. Regardless, 3 more cracks at the end zone for the Missouri offense.
Derek Dooley, the new offensive coordinator, says you got to be able to grind it out in the SEC. Damari Crockett delayed the inevitable. Touchdown, Mizzou.
You don't see a lot of teams. You don't see Drew Lock spend a lot of time under center before Derek Dooley got to town. Power I formation down there on the goal line. It's a walk-in touchdown.
Mizzou running the football effectively so far with 52 rushing yards here in just a couple of drives. This is the 3rd so far. And Tucker McCann's extra point is good. Grinding it out here on this drive, culminating with a Crockett touchdown. Mizzou is back on top. Mizzou got too creative earlier, trying an onside kick, and this is what Barry Odom called for today. Pooch kicks in front of Debo, and that worked perfectly, forcing him to come up and field it off the ground near the 15-yard line. This time around, Tyson Williams, who's been banged up the last couple of weeks, gets wrestled to the ground by Terry Beckner.
Just upfield right away. And they're slanting the defensive front, being very active so far. You see Terry Beckner. You should never see a defensive lineman in a tight shot of your back as he's taking the handoffs. Never ideal. Terry Beckner in the offensive backfield right now. Yet another tackle for loss for the Tigers.
That's 3 here in the first quarter. Scarnecchia had time and now escapes and dives back to the original line of scrimmage where Walter Palmore is there. 3rd and 10, Chris.
Well, Terry Beckner has lost almost 20 pounds. He gave up soda and he gave up fast food. I asked Terez Hall what he's seen from him, and he said, oh yeah, I look back at old film and he was chubby. He kind of had a muffin top back then. You can only say that about your teammates.
Looked like the pastry counter at Starbucks or something, huh? Looking up there at the defensive front. Now he's zeroed up on a nose tackle. He's got pretty nice pass rush traits as well.
Here come the Tigers. Scarnecchia takes a big hit. The ball's deflected as a flag comes in. 4th down.
Personal foul, chop block on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
As you see there, Cale Garrett coming through the line, untouched. He's got a free shot on Scarnecchia. Lucky to get that ball off. See Beckner Jr. able to bat the ball up in the air. And that was a familiar sight for Gamecock fans who saw Jake Bentley get battered around last week versus Kentucky.
Charlton with his 3rd punt. And Johnson puts up a hand late. Fair catch at the 33-yard line. It's a little swing pass to Beatty out of the backfield, and he's ahead to the 45-yard line for a 1st down. So it's play-by-play here, Stinch, with a new tailback.
You see rotating in, Beatty, it looks like he'll take another consecutive, allow Missouri to stay fast and in tempo.
Gets ahead to the 49, tackled by Daniel Fennell.
And the challenge, of course, is that you're facing a South Carolina defense that was undermanned coming into the season. They're barely able to get their cleats in the ground before the ball's getting snapped.
Fake to Beatty. Locke stands tall, rifles one down there, and it's incomplete, but here's another flag. Stephen Montack on Dominic Jacinto.
There's no doubt that Montack's there early. And Jacinto is underneath the coverage. Again, we saw this on a double move on the first
Pass
possession.
interference on the defense, number 22. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
You see Montac coming over in coverage. He's clearly early. Right hand was on, the left hand comes across. And another true freshman, and you could see Missouri not scared to take some of these deep shots. The run game established, it gets established early in these series, allows you to take some shots downfield. Play action means something when you get that ground game going. And so far the Tigers have been able to do that.
Rocket, look at those holes that Missouri offensive line is creating. I mean, it's 5 yards before he's touched. The center of that time, Kristen Colon Castillo, pushing those Gamecocks back.
Just riding the wave, and that's just a zone to the right. You get the push, you're able to stay at the point of attack, then put your foot in the ground and get downfield.
9 yards on first down and running free on a 2nd and 1 near the 10.
South Carolina knew they needed to get better play at linebacker. Right now they're losing up front. You see number 42, Recindo Lewis, a true freshman, and he's peeking inside. Gap integrity's broken. Big run on the ground.
And it's Crockett near the 5-yard line. So it's 6, it's 7, it's 9 yards on first down.
When you leave your personnel in there, you're playing tempo. You knew that South Carolina last week played a lot of snaps. Sherrod Green, TJ Brunson, and linebacker played the entire game. No rotation, no ability to get any fresh legs in there. Now Missouri subs. South Carolina able to get some new defenders in there, including Bryson Allen Williams, but they're knocking on the door in the red zone.
Mizzou has 3 tight ends on a 2nd and 3, and Crockett is hit after maybe a yard. It'll be 3rd down. That's Shamik Blackshear got in there. Drew Lock's going to walk all the way down to the other 4-yard line as the first quarter ends. Missouri running the football at will. Already 175 total yards. They lead the Gamecocks 14-7. Missouri starts the second quarter at the Gamecocks 4-yard line. Derek Dooley was the wide receivers coach for 5 years for the Dallas Cowboys. Comes back to college football in the SEC. Of course, he was the former head coach of the Volunteers. He's called a heck of a game so far for Drew Lock, his tailbacks, and for those wide receivers that are without Emmanuel Hall today. 175 yards in that first quarter. Now Locke will throw. End zone dropped. That was Jonathan Johnson he was looking for. And the Gamecocks getting off the field, forcing a chip shot field goal as a win.
So you roll them out, cut the field in half. You got high-low options and an opportunity to come up with it. Hit Jonathan Johnson in the hands, typically sure-handed. This time, as I mentioned, that's a win for South Carolina defensively. They were hemorrhaging yards. Could they come up with the stop? They were able to do that. The quarter change may have allowed that defense to catch their breath a bit.
Tucker McCann is up and good from 22 yards. And it's 17-7 Missouri Tigers. Will Muschamp's team needs to get rolling on offense.
You take out the onside kick, you look at South Carolina and the story in this game so far, their own starting field position, they're getting the football on the 18-yard line. Even worse than what we saw last week versus Kentucky. You look at Missouri, they're getting it on their own 34. That is a huge swing when you talk about hidden yardage in a football game.
And once again, Tucker McCann set to kick off with Deebo Samuel back there deep. This is a bit shorter. It's fielded at the 14. This is Keyshawn Nixon as they kick it away from Deebo, and he has passed the 30-yard line. Son Williams ahead past the 35-yard line. He missed the Kentucky game last week with an ankle injury, as Rico Dowdle, A.J. Turner, and Tyson have all carried shared the responsibilities so far in the backfield. Not much doing there as Brandon Lee and Jordan Elliott come in. Third down.
Right now, South Carolina having a really difficult time on some of their combination blocks up front. They're getting up to the second level too early. That time, Zach Bailey, Donnell Stanley coming off too early on Jordan Elliott, who is very active in the middle of that Missouri defensive front.
Gamecocks 0 for 3 on third down already, 3rd and 5. Scarnecchia with a flag down. Debo makes some kind of crazy catch, and inside the 30-yard line, he's tackled near the 26. If it stands, it's 37 yards.
Offside on the defense, number 5. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
So they got Beckner Jr. to jump a little bit up front. They showed pressure and bailed. And you give your playmaker a chance to make a play on the outside, and Debo Samuel delivers. Will Muschamp told him, look, we got to throw and catch to win games. He came back later in the week and reminded everybody, including Debo Samuel, you've made a lot of plays here. We expect you to make a lot more. He's made 2 big ones so far in this game.
Tyson Williams inside the 20 as he is tripped up, but a nice positive play for 9 yards on first down. Nate Anderson, the one that was what forced him to the ground. Williams, the junior from Sumter, South Carolina, started his career at North Carolina.
You know, one of the things too, Taylor, short football field, this defense hasn't been on the field very long. The first real sustained drive for South Carolina.
Scarnecchia, middle of the field is open to the goal line. Touchdown! Brian Edwards again for 17 yards.
See Edwards. He's so physical after the catch. The extension, that looks like 6. Both of his knees would have been on top of the defender. Watch how he extends before he would establish himself down. That is a touchdown. 2 of them now for Brian Edwards, and both of them, the precursor was a big play for Debo Samuel. We talk about the best players on this team needing to elevate their play. They didn't play well last week versus Kentucky. You're without your usual starter at quarterback. So far, Debo Samuel, Brian Edwards, Michael Scarnecchia doing a good job of elevating their level of play and getting the Gamecocks into the end zone.
And Scarnecchia off to a heck of a start. 6 of 7, over 100 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns, both to Brian Edwards. Parker White and his extra point is good. Exactly what the Gamecocks needed. They get good field position. Debo Samuel with a big catch to put him in Mizzou territory, and Brian Edwards pays it off. Good gracious, Dari, a lot of chaos going on there in Fayetteville with the Tide trying to get that first down in their own territory, and then that Razorbacks fumble. Keep an eye on that one as Mizzou will start at the 25-yard line. His primary center, Tristan Colon-Castillo, is back in the game, and Larry Roundtree follows him for a couple of yards.
You can see South Carolina, it's almost as if defensively it shifted a little bit. When they forced the field goal attempt from about the 2-yard line, they were able to get the ball back to their offense, and now on first down, doing a good job corralling the ground game.
Take to Roundtree, and out of the backfield, or out off the line rather, Albert O with the catch for 2 more. It's 3rd and long.
And as we've seen in this game, South Carolina very active with their front players, lots of twists. They've been able to get to Drew Lock. Offensive coordinator Derek Dooley knew that this is something that South Carolina was definitely going to have to try to do, affect the passer. Drew Lock too talented to have a clean pocket to throw from.
Lock doesn't have anything open. Finally down the field he finds Jonathan Johnson streaking for a first down, and then here comes a flag on the Gamecocks.
South Carolina only brought 4 that time and played coverage. But Drew Lock did such a good job buying time, keeping his eyes downfield, and able to find Jonathan Johnson.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, number 9 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
You see South Carolina, they end up playing coverage. They drop 7 deep. Jonathan Johnson, he's just going to settle into the soft spot and zone. Drew Lock was able to scramble to his throwing arm side. Johnson, nice hands catch after the drop earlier on the goal line to force a field goal. And then Keyshawn Nixon, again, senselessly, he's already out of bounds. Don't make an easy call for the ref.
Lock to Beatty, wide open out of the backfield, and he's inside the 15.
It was an issue last week versus Kentucky. Tracking backs out of the backfield, tight ends releasing from the line of scrimmage when they're attacked. That time, Beatty all alone on the numbers and able to recapture the yardage given up from the holding penalty.
For that 13-yard completion, it's now 2nd and 7 for Mizzou. From the Carolina 14. Another underneath throw that's batted down, looking for Kendall Blanton, but Montag steps in front.
That time, well-timed in a pass defense by Stephen Montag. Didn't get there too early, and he needed to get underneath that throw. You're talking about Kendall Blanton at 6'6". He's basically boxing you out for a rebound. You better get a hand in front. Another big opportunity for South Carolina to get a stop. Missouri was only undone last time with the drop right on the goal line on a rollout by Drew Lock, and Jonathan Johnson incapable of bringing it in.
Crowd roaring at Drew Lock on this 3rd and 7. Off his back foot, end zone, and batted down. That is Jamias Williams that came over there to force the incompletion 4th down.
There's no question where Drew Lock is going to trust to go with the football when they're getting in scoring opportunity. Twice now on 3rd downs, trying to find Jonathan Johnson. Twice now, the South Carolina defense able to stiffen in the red zone and turn the Missouri offense away. One that has been really good in that area of the field this season.
We weren't sure if Jam Williams could go today as a sore shoulder, but looked good there as McCann attempts the 32-yarder, and it is straight through. New score, Missouri 20, South Carolina 14. This one is bobbled by Debo, picked up at the 9-yard line. They ultimately did kick it to him, and he's out of bounds near the 40. In pistol set, Dari, you see Tyson Williams hurdling a defender, Adam Sparks. Williams has looked good, showing no ill effects from that ankle injury he sustained a couple of weeks ago.
You know, we talk about these teams that can run the football by committee. One of the advantages of that is that if a guy's a little bit nicked up, he doesn't have to be forced into the lineup. Tyson Williams looking more than healthy so far in this game.
Tyson is hit hard at the line of scrimmage there as Brandon Lee, the linebacker, comes in. It'll be 3rd down. Williams averaging before that play 5.5 yards per carry. Rest of the team just barely in positive yardage at 0.2.
Well, it's really been the last couple of possessions where South Carolina has done a better job establishing that ground attack. They started early wanting to do it. Rico Dowdle, A.J. Turner not really very effective. Now starting able to capture the edges.
Scarnecchia up middle of the field, juggled by Edwards and incomplete. It's thrown out a little in front of him and he couldn't corral it.
Pressure again, right up the middle. And you see there, Tyree Gillespie, Scarnecchia knows he's going to get hit. He throws a ball that should be caught. Well, Brian Edwards talked about it last week and what was thought to be about 6 drops in the game. Key drops, key moments. There's a 3rd down conversion potentially. Last week it was Debo Samuel on an early 3rd down. We've seen 2 touchdown catches out of number 89. That's one that he would want back. One of the better players on the field. And a key stop for Missouri now to get the ball back quickly for its offense.
Credit to Christian Holmes for getting a hand in there as Charlton punts a moon ball that's fielded by Jonathan Johnson at the 15-yard line. It's a 39-yard punt. Crockett finds another hole in that Gamecock secondary, and he gets to the 35-yard line for 9 more. So you see Locke passing Eli, and he now has his sights set on the hefty lefty. Who's up next?
It's not going to take long either for him to overtake Jared Lorenzen as he climbs up that chart.
2nd and 1. He slings this one out. That's complete to Cam Scott, the true freshman. First down. He was 3rd or 4th option in that play.
A great ball fake. Everybody was expecting Demarie Crockett to have ended up with that football, and instead, really nowhere to go with the ball initially, but there wasn't much pressure either.
This looks like what you saw a lot of last year, but it doesn't work. Albert O makes the catch. That was the thing with Locke that you saw the first 3 years, Stinch, is a quick fake to the backfield, quick throw to your first option, go down the field as fast as possible. If it works incredibly well. But if it doesn't, they're off the field in 15 seconds.
It kind of felt like you were either bunting or swinging for the fences. That was kind of the passing game. Not entirely. This year it's been way more balanced when you look at how intentional this offense has been with its ground game. It hasn't just been incidental to a passing game. They came into with the mindset you have to run the football even if there isn't a numbers advantage.
Locke, underneath safe throw that's caught by Cam Scott, and Scott is out of bounds into Gamecock territory at the 45-yard line.
And you can't say enough, I think, about Drew Locke's athleticism. There's a lot more on his plate. He's dealing with more of the decision-making offensively, but throws so well off platform and out of the pocket.
Run straight ahead for Crockett, and he's down to the 36 for 9 yards.
That time, South Carolina just late triggering that linebacker. You got to get downhill. True freshman Rosendo Lewis again. The game's moving really fast.
Tyler Beatty is in the backfield now, as we've seen a lot of Crockett, Roundtree, and Beatty, all of them with multiple carries today. And Tyler, with plenty of space, dives ahead to the 27-yard line, just short of another first down. TJ Brunson on the tackle, but Stench, as you've documented, first down has been a big win for Mizzou in this first half, as they'll go quickly. Beatty, first down run, as Javon Charleston couldn't wrap him up initially.
And that was an example of you've got to run when you don't have a numbers advantage. 5 available blockers, 6 defenders in the box, and they had as spread a set as you could find. 4 wide receivers stacked outside the numbers. You have to defend those guys, but you also have to tackle in the box, and Beatty showing how physical he could be.
Locke steps up, middle of the field, and it's open, and it's a first down inside the 5-yard line. That's a big catch made inside the 5.
And they snuck an eligible receiver there and lined up, looked like an offensive tackle initially, and was wide open down the field.
So a first and goal for Mizzou, 2 timeouts left inside the 5. Locke takes the handoff, and he'll just throw this away. Live to see another down.
Now the challenge, obviously, with South Carolina in a goal-to-go scenario. Can they once again find a way to deny the end zone? They've been able to do it the last 2 trips. When Missouri's able to get down here, will they be able to do it once again? We've seen twice where Drew Locke moved the pocket. They seek Jonathan Johnson, and both times coming up empty with the Gamecock defense able to defend the pass.
Beatty. Whistle down at the 4-yard line. Javon Kinlaw credited with that tackle. That last play, we were waiting for the whistle, and that's why there was one, as you see the right knee of Beatty down. So it is a 3rd and goal with Crockett standing next to Drew Lock and 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Lock, incomplete. J.C. Horn breaking up the pass intended for Jalen Knox.
That time they went to the trips. They had Jonathan Johnson break out, a chance to rub the defender, and able to break free. That time, though, well defended. J.C. Horn, we talked about him earlier. He's a gamer. He's a guy that plays with an edge. He's the one that Coach Muschamp was talking about. You want to have to rein your players in as a true freshman, coming up big to force yet another field goal attempt in the red zone for Missouri.
It's again from 22 yards. And McCann is now 8 for 8 on the season inside 40. Barry Odom 12-0 when leading at the half as the head coach of the Missouri Tigers, winning 9 of his last 11 games. After an open week, his team comes out with 321 total yards in this first half on a hot day at Williams-Brice Stadium, and Chris is with him.
Coach, 3 straight possessions, they held you to a field goal. How do you take advantage of the good field position?
Well, we've done a great job driving down the field. We got to find a way to come up with 7 points in those situations. It's going to go down in the 4th quarter, be decided late, and we've got to find a way to execute there. We've had opportunities, and this didn't come away with it. But we know we'll drive the ball. Let's go find a way to finish it off.
What went into the decision to pull out the onside kick early?
That was not, he mishit the ball. So I know it looked like an onside. We were trying to bloop it down to the right side. Mishit it, and obviously bad situation.
Thanks for clarification.
Thanks. Yep.
All right, so Barry Odom with a clarification there. Mizzou leads the Gamecocks 23-14. It's the SEC halftime report with Dari, Chiz, and Doring. Nekia, too high for Samuel, incomplete. Debo, one of the few skill players that South Carolina has that's not been banged up. Rico Dowdle, like you said on the last play, Brian Edwards has a touchdown, but clearly is not able to go full speed with an ankle injury. Jake Bentley not playing today after 24 consecutive starts with a knee injury. Tyson Williams, and he's inside the 45. So with all those health injuries, you had to have a solid performance from the quarterback, Michael Scarnecchia, and that's what the Gamecocks have gotten so far. He's thrown for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And the rain has really picked up in this one, as you see Missouri with late substitutions, and they're going to get an opportunity to do so.
Scarnecchia will run it himself and dive out the 40-yard line, and Christian Holmes, who tried to deliver the hit, took the bigger blow between those two.
It looked worse, really, than I think it ultimately was, as you see South Carolina for the second time in this game in very similar field position scenario, going for it on 4th down.
Pumps, throws underneath to Edwards, 1st down. Thought about throwing to Rico Dowdle, who was covered up, and instead finds Edwards underneath to move the chains.
This is a phenomenal job by Scarnecchia. Ducks under the pressures to stay alive and keeps his eyes downfield quickly.
Rico Dowdle roughed up by Jordan Elliott after a pickup of 1. Can't say enough about the job Scarnecchia has done, given that he's never been in this position before, Matt. We've only seen him in mop-up duty throughout his career. Now 2nd and 9. And Dowdle gains tackle inside the 30. Cale Garrett, first man to him.
Well, there's no doubt that he's done a phenomenal job, and it's beyond game management. He's done a good job, especially on that last down, of course. 4th down, do or die. Pressure in your face, you duck under the defender, and then you're able to release the football on time, on target, and get a conversion. He has been more than capable in stepping in his role so far.
3rd and 6. And it looks like Mizzou's offsides. Free play, and it's inside the 15, inside the 10 to Shi Smith. That is a 20-yard pickup from Scarnecchia to the sophomore.
On the defense, number 99. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
The 3rd time Missouri has afforded a free play. And I was just wondering where Shi Smith went in this ball game, and he shows up to get South Carolina into the red zone.
11th play of the drive. Scarnecchia one-on-one to Samuel, incomplete. Good defense by DeMarcus Acey.
You're trying to give your playmaker a chance. That ball was a little bit inside and a little bit underthrown. Good job by Acey. Got his hands up just at the last second to deny the reception.
Scarnecchia, middle of the field to Samuel. Touchdown, Gamecocks. What a drive by Michael Scarnecchia and South Carolina. 12 plays, including a big 4th down that he converted at the Mizzou 40-yard line, and it pays off with Samuel with the touchdown catch. Parker White now to make it a 2-point game.
Talk about an answer. You come out of the gate smoking in the 2nd half. The defense got the ball back to the offense, and the Gamecocks are in the end zone again. What about Scarnecchia? He's done a great job in this game. 3 touchdown passes in his first start.
And we're not censoring part of the offensive line there. It's just there's some rain that has come down throughout this 3rd quarter. Mizzou will get it at the 25-yard line.
Well, for the first time in this entire game, here in the 2nd half, Missouri goes 3 and out. South Carolina marches right back for a score to tighten this thing up.
Crockett gets 5 yards on 1st down. And it really hasn't mattered who has carried the football so far for Mizzou today, Beatty, Crockett, or Roundtree.
You see them rotating, trying to keep those fresh legs. That has been the key, though, when Missouri has been able to move the football, and they have. But on the 3 stops that South Carolina's been able to get in the field, they were able to do a good job on first down.
This is Crockett again, first down, big hole, into Gamecock territory and free. Inside the 20, stays on his feet, waiting for a signal, touchdown. If it stands, it's 70 yards.
Make sure he stays in bounds. It looks like he does. He drug his toe at one point, but it looked like he was dragging it in bounds.
After further review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 10.5-yard line.
Okay.
First down, Missouri.
Now we're 0 for 2.
Our version of what you can determine to be overturned is a little different. But certainly it looked really close, whether or not that foot was out of bounds. So that's a big call, because if Missouri, like 3 times prior in the red zone, is limited to 3 points, this is still just a 1-score game. So that's a 59-yard run for Crockett instead of 70 yards, and it'll give Mizzou the football just outside the 10-yard line as the rain continues to pour over Williams-Brice Stadium. Crockett, no place to go. Keir Thomas and company there to make the stop, second down.
And then extracurricular, there's a flag coming back out. You can see Keir Thomas. He's saying it's going to be against Missouri. There at the end of the play, there was a scrum. Thomas talking to Crockett. It's always the second guy, right?
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 16 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. It is second down. That is number 16's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
The third unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in this game. The previous 2 were offsetting. Now, Keir Thomas is lucky because it looked like his arm was being held back. Otherwise, that's offsetting. Either way, Demarie Crockett, you got to show poise. Players are going to try to draw you into something like that. Get in your head a little bit, see if they can't get a reaction. They did, and now you're outside of the red zone. We just got done talking about how good South Carolina has been defensively, and now you've got second and forever to convert.
Locke will go for it all. Incomplete. He was looking for Dominic Jacinto, who is covered up by Jam Williams. And like you said, originally it was ruled a 70-yard touchdown run by Demarie Crockett, overturned upstairs, and they go from that ruling to now a 3rd and 30 just outside the 30-yard line.
Just a huge momentum swing there. You take points off the board. Say the ball carrier steps out of bounds. Back-to-back penalties, 20 yards. That's the hidden yardage that will get missed. You look at the box score, and now you're backed up. 3rd, you can convert, but you're practically in the end zone. South Carolina's got almost the entire balance of the field to defend.
Mizzou has to get to Lexington for a first down, and they go nowhere. Javon Kinlaw.
Twice now in this half, Javon Kinlaw coming up big. He's been relatively quiet. He got a negative yardage tackle for loss earlier. He and Keir Thomas both
7:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Working their way into the backfield. It's exactly what Missouri was trying to do. Let's just pick up yards, keep it in the middle of the field, and kick a field goal. And instead, Fatoni asked to try to pin South Carolina deep.
And he drops it, picks it up, and is tackled back at the 47. It was a good snap from Drew Wise, but Fatoni could not handle it, and Bryson Allen Williams was there to make the tackle. What a remarkable turn of events for the Gamecocks.
It's punt safe. They didn't even have a return man back. Fatoni can't field the snap, and South Carolina dodges a huge bullet.
So Tyson Williams comes in looking for space, and he is tackled at the 41 by Nate Anderson.
Challenge now, Missouri defense. You can't allow South Carolina to get going on the ground. Obviously, they can be dangerous as well downfield. We haven't seen a ton of shots taken. They hit Shi Smith on one. Debo Samuels come through. But those are both of those underneath throws and runs after catch.
Fake to Williams, middle of the field is open, and that's Edwards to the 30. 11 more for the junior from Conway, South Carolina.
You see RPO, ball fake, pulls up the linebackers. We asked Muschamp.
Tyson Williams is wrestled down by Kobe Whiteside after Williams inside the 25.
There's all kinds of pushing going on now. And this is the second time now in this game where we've seen offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Earlier, when Missouri was in the red zone, there was a single call, unsportsmanlike, on Demarie Crockett, cost him field position big time.
I tell you, all of our equipment is also
A little soggy.
felt the precipitation today, and thanks to Andy and Wayne who work here in the booth, they have been working hard to make sure it stays dry. Let's go to a 3rd and 4 now for the Gamecocks at the Mizzou 25. Scarnecchia tries to set up the bubble, but nothing's there. It's 4th down. Chris Turner applying the pressure.
Good job that time. We saw South Carolina able to hit on a screen pass and get out of the gate.
5:24.
So we're reminded 5:24 left in the quarter. And Missouri able to turn away the offense. And we'll be curious to see the snap hold battery here for the field goal attempt.
And Parker White hasn't attempted one north of 40 this year. He missed from 38 last week. He's 4 of 12 beyond 40 yards. This from 42. And that one is straight down the middle. The Gamecocks lead for the first time today. Parker White, the sophomore from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, puts his Gamecocks in front.
Welcome back to Columbia, where the rain has started to let up, but it has made a lot of difference out here. First of all, is the clock is not working, so the official is having to use an old school clock or a watch, turn it on and off. Will Muschamp coming over constantly to say, what time is it? How much is left on the clock? The other big difference is what's going on the Missouri sidelines. They are constantly practicing catching the ball because they can't use their gloves. Whereas if you look at the South Carolina sideline, they're able to stay under an awning.
Beatty doesn't get to the 20-yard line, so all sorts of issues here in the 3rd quarter, especially for the Missouri Tigers. 5:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Locke, sideline pass incomplete. He was looking for Jalen Knox, and J.C. Horn said no, sir.
Take a look at J.C. Horn coming back out on the field. It's an interesting point. It looked like that ball might have gotten tipped right at the line of scrimmage. Either way, interesting point that Chris was making about the gloves. Home field for South Carolina if they want to swap out gloves as they get wet. Road game for Missouri and nowhere to hide from the elements.
Hardest rain of the day is there's some confusion in the backfield with Beatty, and Locke will just slide down to protect himself. Beatty ran the wrong way, and Locke couldn't find him.
It looked like this one might have been on Locke. Watch Locke, he reverses the wrong direction. Either that or he expected Beatty to be on his left. The true freshman more than likely was misaligned in the offensive backfield. Drew Locke clearly expected the ball carrier to be on his left. Barry Eldham knows Beatty, really talented kid, but it's early in his career, maybe a major misstep there.
3rd and 12. Locke trying to set up the bubble, intercepted, picked off, and it's a touchdown. Sherrod Green.
It's almost as if whenever it rains harder, things go better for South Carolina. It starts raining, and all of a sudden, it's been all Gamecocks this half, certainly this quarter. Rain picks back up. Things start to go badly for the Missouri offense. And there's the turnover. We've only had 3 interceptions for South Carolina this year. Finally, someone other than Rashad Fenton stepping up.
And South Carolina looks for their 17th unanswered point from Parker White. And it is through.
Great hold by Danny Gordon, it looked like right there. Take a look at the touchdown again. So here's Beatty. On the play before, he was lined up on the wrong side. This time, as he's trying to release, watch him slip. There's no way that he can get in front of this pass, and Sherrod Green, of course, has a free run to the spot.
So an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty is why South Carolina will kick off with Wozniak from their own 20-yard line, and Beatty is back there deep.
There is hail coming down now here in Williams-Brice Stadium.
Really short kick, and a fair catch is made at the 37-yard line. Mizzou will start there. Here, the rain has been as big of an opponent as South Carolina has been to Missouri here in the third quarter.
No doubt. And you look at this starting field position for the Missouri offense, and you understand why Will Muschamp was so upset with the unsportsmanlike penalties. He realized very real chance they were going to be giving excellent field position right back to the Missouri Tigers with only an 8-point lead. That's a 1-possession ball game. A lot of game left to be played. We can't see it on the clock, but there's plenty of football left.
Looks like it's just under 5 minutes. Roundtree past midfield, breaks a tackle, and is free inside the 30-yard line, breaking another. Inside the 20 for the sophomore from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Before it was DeMarie Crockett, and now Roundtree able to pick his way through the South Carolina defense for the second big run in this quarter. The clock doesn't show it, but we're in the final quarter of this one.
Yes, we are, and the Gamecocks own the third. Gamecocks trailed by 9 points going into the quarter and lead it by 8 as they start the fourth. Roundtree has the edge inside the 15, near a first down at the 12. TJ Brunson on the tackle after 9 yards.
Big run once again by Roundtree. And in this half, the backs have been able to get loose on a couple of nice ones. That time able to get to the edge again. You want to make sure that you're playing clean football. That's something that Missouri has not done. Penalties and negative yardage plays have plagued them.
Drew Lock keeps it himself inside the 10, gets a block from Blanton, and he's out near the 2-yard line.
I think it's worked every time this year for Drew Lock. It worked earlier in this game. You see Bryson Allen Williams just crashing down from the edge on the would-be ball carrier. No handoff, nice pull by Drew Lock. He almost always picks up the first and big yards.
Roundtree dives to the pylon, rides some defenders, touchdown. The rain stops and Missouri's offense starts.
You see Roundtree take the handoff. He tries to go up top. And somehow it's that second wave. You see Yasir Durant, Paul Adams getting in there for the final push. And as you see Missouri, they're going to go for the 2 points here. Here's Okuwebanam down here matched up against the true freshman, J.C. Horn.
That's where Locke is looking. Incomplete. So Missouri gets its first block punt in 3 years. It results in 6 points, but they trail the Gamecocks by 2. As this one will be taken back near the 30-yard line by Kyle Markway. Tyson Williams looking for space, and he's going to lose yardage. Walter Palmore is there.
Coming into this game, we talked about how much more physical Missouri was playing along both lines of scrimmage, but especially defensively. You could see it their last time out versus Georgia prior to their bye week. Their defensive front was much more salty this season than what we've seen before. Their 7th tackle for loss in this game.
Scarnecchia underneath, and Williams took his eyes off the football.
Tyson Williams, usually a very reliable receiver out of the backfield. He knew what he had there was a turn and run. Going to have to field it cleanly and then get upfield, knowing that a defender would be closing. Job one is secure the catch.
13-14 left in regulation. Play clock and game clock being kept on the field. Scarnecchia, middle of the field, and it's stripped out to Marcus Acey. Great defense there on Brian Edwards.
Edwards is frustrated. Acey was right there. This is a well-thrown football. And Edwards had a chance to come up with that one. That's twice. You could see the frustration on 89. Had some issues last week versus Kentucky and a couple of times in this one.
Since the last couple of times we've seen both teams try to punt the football, but each punter has had trouble making the catch, resulting in the other team scoring touchdowns.
So Missouri might try to come after this one.
Charlton drops it again. He will try to run for the first down. He's got room, and he fumbles the football, and the Gamecocks are on it at the 33-yard line. That is shy of a first down. Missouri will get it right there.
Just shows the most important pass of just about any offensive possession. It's the snap. Even if it's a punter, you see Charlton doesn't field it cleanly, squeaked right out of his hands. He tries to advance it. It's blown up right there on the sidelines. And Missouri with great field position again.
Dennis Stribling with the strip. Mizzou with the ball in Gamecock territory. Missouri gets the football at the 33 of South Carolina, and Crockett bounces off a couple of Gamecocks and ends up getting 5 yards as Montack makes the tackle. Now, they did review that last fumble and determined that Missouri did not commit targeting on that play. Otherwise, South Carolina would have kept the football.
Yeah, they looked long and hard, it appeared. Whether or not it was not only high, crown of the helmet to the head and neck area, and determined that it was not.
So for a 4-yard carry, again, it's Crockett on the ground. Following blockers patiently inside the 25. Keir Thomas on the tackle. It's 3rd and short.
Remember Charlton?
This is the play that they were looking at, Stinch, to see whether or not targeting was committed.
They determined that it was not.
256 yards rushing for Mizzou today, a career high. Did they keep a season high rather? Did they keep it on the ground on a 3rd and 3? No, instead Locke will throw it to Albert. Oh, and he's tackled in the backfield for a loss. That's Stephen Montack with the airplane slide.
Great play by Stephen Montack. He triggers up. They bring perimeter pressure. Jamias Williams was blitzing from the slot. He was over Albert Okuwebanam. And Montack coming up. That's a big man that he's taken down in the open field. And a fine open field tackle by 22.
Drew Wise will snap it, and Tucker McCann will try to kick a 44-yarder. Good snap, good hold, great kick, and it gives Missouri the lead. Tucker McCann, just 3 for 7 over 40 yards this year, comes through. Tigers 32, Gamecocks 31. What a Columbia Bowl it's been at Williams-Brice. Brand new football facility that's being built as we speak that will be completed for the 2019 season. Beautiful facility right outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. McCann, a short kick, and this one will roll out of bounds, so Gamecocks will get good field position, and you see the clock is back. 11:01 to go in the fourth quarter. From midfield, Dowdle for 4 more. Perez Hall on the tackle as the Gamecocks get back into Mizzou territory. This series is 4 apiece. South Carolina has beaten Missouri 4 out of the 6 times that they have both played in conference together. Mizzou beat them before they joined the SEC twice. Gamecocks have won the last 2. Dowdle, 2nd and 5. First down, Gamecocks inside the 40 as Cale Garrett is there. As they ride Dowdle on 1st and 2nd down.
And you could see Missouri playing 2 deep safeties. It's a 6 defender box. South Carolina happy to take that matchup.
Doesn't get much here, maybe 2. He had -1 yard rushing in the first half. And now for the game, Dowdle has 55, so 56 yards rushing for the junior in the 3rd quarter and 4th, but no place to go there as Adam Sparks comes up to make the tackle.
You can see now, Ryan Walters, that time he brings a corner fire. C14 coming from the boundary. Brian Edwards was pointing at him. Cat, cat, cat. Here comes the corner. He's going to shoot. He was able to get into the backfield, get a negative yardage play. On the previous couple of runs, you're playing a straight 6-man box. 6 defenders, you got 6 blockers. Gamecocks able to pick up yardage. Last couple of downs, Missouri attacking the line of scrimmage with extra defenders.
Scarnecchia, again a strike to Edwards. Did he complete the catch? He did inside the 30 down at the 28. He took a hit from Perez Hall.
He gets rocked. Look at the concentration. Clean play. Perez Hall dropping in coverage, and Brian Edwards gutting it out. As you mentioned, he's not full speed. He's had a couple of drops, 2 big catches already on this drive, and took a shot on that one.
Everyone knows that South Carolina will run it on 1st down, and Tyson Williams gets to the 25-yard line. Clearly, Will Muschamp and his offensive coordinator, Brian McClendon, are trying to be as smart as possible and limit the mistakes, even if it's too conservative for some of the fans.
Hey, look, I mean, you've always said, if you have to punt the football away, that's fine. That's been dangerous. It's cost South Carolina points here in the 2nd half.
2nd down, here comes the big rush, and Scarnecchia is able to get it out incomplete in front of Edwards as Cale Garrett comes flying in there.
Watch 47 right up the middle. And see Rico Dowdle, he was checking over there to the edge pressure. They were bringing Perez Hall as well. No one accounted for Cale Garrett right in that A-gap, the gap right next to the center. You always have to be A-gap secure. Your protection has to be sound inside out. Scarnecchia lucky to unload that football.
The 11th play of the drive is a 3rd and 8. Here they come again, and it's almost intercepted. That was Walter Palmore that basically had possession of the football for a moment.
Walter Palmore, and he was kind of mush rushing because he was even engaged with Donnell Stanley. They were trying to get it to Brian Edwards on a shallow cross. Again, pressure up the middle. And Palmore almost came up with a turnover.
Parker White has made 1 from 42 yards. And now he's got another, and the Gamecocks are back in front. Snapping and holding in wet weather is a big deal. The Gamecocks did it perfectly, and Parker White splits the uprights. Good breakdown there by our NFL draft expert, Mel Kiper. Derek Dooley says that he has all the tools. He has to learn how to be a complete quarterback, though. Beatty tackled with flags coming in. Rolls out wide open down the field past the 45-yard line is Barrett Bannister for his first catch of the season, and that goes for 18 yards.
Second or third time in this game where they've booted Drew Lock out and able to get a receiver downfield unaccounted for in the coverage. And now quickly, Missouri with the ball at midfield.
Lock under pressure dives ahead for a couple. Second down, Aaron Sterling in the backfield with him.
Bryson Allen Williams there almost immediately went for the kill shot on Drew Lock. Lock, big body, stays on his feet and was able to battle past the original starting at the line of scrimmage.
Lots of rain throughout the third quarter, and then that long weather delay here in the fourth. Crockett bulldozes his way straight ahead. It'll be third down, Stinch.
It is so difficult to maintain that momentum. That's the big challenge, because Mizzou is driving right before the back-to-back lightning delays. And now you're faced with the 3rd and 10. The challenge was there was a holding penalty that forced it to be 1st and 20. They had to battle their way back to the original line of scrimmage here for this third down.
And look at that today. Mizzou has struggled mightily to convert. Here come the Gamecocks. Lock off his back foot, incomplete. Stephen Montack almost had the pick. TJ Brunson with the hurry of Lock there. It's 4th down.
Well, they brought pressure, and they want to make sure that they're getting the Lock, so they're bringing pressure in the interior portion.
And look at this. It looks like Missouri is going to attempt a 57-yard field goal from Tucker McCann, who is 1 for 2 from 50-plus yards in his career. He did kick a 50-yarder against Wyoming. And this one is good. Career long for the junior from O'Fallon, Illinois.
Wow, what a kick. There's some heavy air in this stadium. It's been raining, it's humid, and place kicking, punting has all been a challenge ever since the second half started. Tucker McCann, he pured it. And it couldn't have come at a better time for Mizzou.
He has really struggled, over 40 yards, just 3 of 7 coming into the game this year. But when it matters most, he drills that one to give Mizzou the lead, 35-34, officially a 57-yard field goal. 1 minute, 18 seconds left, and the Gamecocks will have 2 timeouts. There's Jake Bentley not playing today for the knee injury he sustained in the 4th quarter last weekend in Lexington against Kentucky, as the Gamecocks dropped their 5th straight to the Wildcats. Michael Scarnecchia has gone the entire way. Dan all day has tried to kick away from Debo, and this goes to an up-back Daniel Fennell, and he is just past the 30-yard line. So Scarnecchia, in his first career start, is 16 of 28 for 195 yards and 3 touchdowns. GPA award winner here in Columbia, trying to win the football game in his first career start. The backfield, Dowdle makes the catch. That's good for 6 yards, as Tyree Gillespie was right there with him. So Malik Young will come in to play left tackle, trying to protect Scarnecchia on a 2nd and 4, clock moving with 1 minute to go. Incomplete, short hops it to Samuel.
And he knew it as soon as he let it go. Scarnecchia didn't like it as it came out of his hands. He knew he had underthrown this football. The challenge, of course, so you're playing with 2 timeouts. South Carolina had to burn one when Missouri lined up to go for 2 on defense early.
3rd and 4. Rifles one for a first down as he finds his tight end, Keel Pollard.
Nice pickup that time by South Carolina. Left side of the offensive front, kept it clean, had a secondary blitzer coming.
Scarnecchia can't find anything, throws to the sideline, out of bounds.
At that time, Missouri only brought 3. Dropped 8 into coverage, blanketed the secondary. Nowhere to go deep. Looked like they were trying to take a shot. Scarnecchia just throwing it away towards Rico Dowdle. We saw Jake Bentley had his helmet on for the first time we've seen all game. Scarnecchia has handled this offense well so far this week.
Middle of the field is wide open, and it's Kyle Markway. Markway down at the 27-yard line.
You see Missouri, they showed blitz and bailed late, and Markway was wide open.
Almost intercepted as DeMarcus Acey had a play on the ball there as he covered up Deebo Samuel.
And again, pressure getting to Scarnecchia. That time Cam Hilton able to get home as Scarnecchia delivers the football. Lucky to maintain possession is South Carolina, but driving.
Well within Parker White's range here on a 2nd and 10, 26 seconds to go, but they're going the wrong direction as Kobe Whiteside makes the tackle. 3rd down. So with a timeout, let's go back to that long completion that Scarnecchia when he found Markway.
Well, Missouri was showing blitz in the middle. And Tyree Gillespie bails out, but he bailed out to the field side. They came right back to Markway. As you see Cam Hilton able to get there just in time. Keep in mind, K.C. Crosby is playing with about 5 broken bones in his hand.
So this is a 3rd and 11 from the Gamecocks from the Mizzou 29. Empty backfield, Scarnecchia complete inside the 20. And that's Brian Edwards again. Edwards with his 7th reception.
Huge completion, obviously. Not only just to convert the 6, but as you mentioned, Taylor, to get it more in a comfort zone for a Parker White attempt, if in fact it's necessary.
The Gamecocks do have 1 timeout left here, but Scarnecchia at least initially was thinking he needed to run to the middle of the field. Will Muschamp ran over and
Their 3rd
called
and
that
final
timeout.
For a guy who has as little playing experience as Michael Scarnecchia has, the big 4th and 2 conversion was huge, obviously, earlier in the game.
Parker White to beat the Missouri Tigers from 33 yards away. Parker White from 33 yards, and the Gamecocks take the lead.
That makes 5 lead changes. I hope our friends at Capital One are happy with who we chose for the performance of this game. Because you can make an argument for Parker White. He's been pretty clutch, but Scarnecchia getting the football into position, and he has been dialed in for this game.
5 lead changes in the 2nd half.
Only 5.
A deluge in the 3rd quarter, a lightning storm in the 4th that suspended play for over an hour, and it'll come down to 1 final play that Missouri will run from their own 33-yard line.
Usually you kind of roll out the pocket.
Alfar can lock sling it from the 25. Incomplete. Gamecocks win. And one of the most dramatic wins you'll ever see at Williams-Brice Stadium, South Carolina wins their 400th game in Columbia.
It's kind of fitting that Brian Edwards, who started the game off, a couple of touchdown catches, key third down receptions, and he came over, as you see him limping, came over to break up that pass.
Will is with Chris Button.
Coach, in a game that pretty much saw it all, rain, broken headsets, a backup quarterback, how'd you pull this out?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, you can question a lot about our football team, but don't ever question our heart. And don't ever question our mental toughness. These guys fought their ass off, and I appreciate all the fans that stayed.
What can you say about the way that Michael Skornecki performed today?
It's outstanding. A 1-minute drive to go win the game, that's what it's all about. But we put our players in those situations all the time in practice. He responded the right way.
Coming off the couple losses that you have, there was a big smile from you when Parker White made that field goal. How does this one feel for a team right now?
Well, it's a great victory for us. We faced a lot of adversity, something we haven't necessarily handled the best way, but our guys fought their butts off. I'm really proud of their effort and just the resolve this football team has. It says a lot about the culture of our program and the discipline of our program.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
You can tell that man has taken a lot of shots, but he has got a lot of pride, and his team backed him up with a backup quarterback today. Let's send you back to Oxford, Mississippi, and Dave Neal.